Let's go! Woo! We on to what? Week 11 now? I think we're on
Week 11.
fucking week 11 of this fucking burning hell. Oh my god. In fact, I don't even have like a true intro for you. I just have a question for you two guys, okay?
Okay.
Because and it's like I kind of also need to like vent a little bit just to get some shit off my chest, you know, just because certain people are driving me crazy right now, and you know, almost am ready to mute that group chat. Just let that thing fucking go. What do you guys think is more important? The value / track record of a player or their current ranking? And I'll give you an example. Okay. An example is Barber and I. We're going to talk shop. He's like, are you interested in a trade? You know, because he always comes at me in this gay way. Like, whatever. Faggot. Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to stop you right there. I love the way Barber caresses me when he wants to trade. I love it. I feel safe.
And so we just like say who we're interested in or whatever, and I go, you know, send me a trade. I thought for sure he'd send me what I felt was like a reasonable trade, and I would be able to come back with a counter. Deal would be made lickety split. And we were talking. I was interested in Scary Terry. And so he's interested in a few people on my team. He sends the offer. He goes, cup for Scary Terry, please. And I declined the trade and did not even counter and ignored him because I took what he sent me as an insult. And, you know, so the next day we're texting, we're talking back and forth, and we're talking about, like, dude, you sent me fucking a piece of shit trade. I'm not going to counter or, you know, send me something that's legit. And he goes, what do you mean? I didn't send you anything bad. I thought that was pretty fair. And he starts talking about, like, I'd have Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp. Like, that's a pretty cool lineup, right? I'm like, yeah. For you, you fucking asshole. So
that's a pretty good lineup right there.
So, like, we go back and forth a little bit, and I go, Cooper Kupp was my first round pick. Like, and you offered me like a 6th round pick. Like, what are you doing? He's like, you can't look at that. You can't. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. And I'm like, I get what he's trying to say because I've been in these situations, and I'll give you another example. Earlier in the
real
year,
quick, Bren, Scary Terry's still performing like a 6th round pick, so
yeah, I was looking for like him as my wide receiver too, so I thought maybe he'd pick one of my other smaller pieces and
right,
make it. Yeah. Earlier in the year, I could have traded Saquon Barkley for Mostert. Justin sent me that trade, and I was like, he's my 2nd round pick. I really like him.
Yeah.
And I ended up going with the decline. Now, this was super early in the year, like even before Mostert had his like big weeks. And so he had maybe one good week. And so he was trying to sell him off that high value. But knowing now how great of a trade that would have been, I'd be going plus 5,000 right now, Justin. You know, throwing that in his face kind of thing. So like,
right.
What do you guys value more? Does the track record, the value of where you drafted them, does that shit actually matter? Or should we just be going, oh, Adam Thielen's ranked number 8. This other guy's ranked 21. Trade. You know what I mean?
Craig, I'll let you go first on this one.
Oh, okay. There's a lot to unpack.
Well, yeah, I might be a little lengthy on that. So
I'll try to keep this as simple as I possibly can. So the first point I'd like to make is we've all been doing this for the same amount of time.
Right.
So there's a lot of factors that come into play with what you're asking. So first of all, I guess the most simplest way is no. Like, I don't care. I don't care that I don't care that Robinson is a top 6 running back, for instance. Does it matter with what he's done and where he's at? Yes, that makes a difference. Does it matter who he is? Yes, that makes a difference. Does the rest of season matter? That's the biggest difference maker. That's why I asked Justin, like, well, do you see Robinson being a top 5, top 10 running back rest of season? And if he says yes, that's way different than someone like me who's going to say, okay, well, he's probably going to have another 3 games where he scores 10, and then he might have another game where he scores 30, which is where he then lands in that top, he lands that. So value is really stupid. And it's really frustrating when people use, I think it's just really dumb when people use, it's just one stat, right? Being a top 6 running back can mean 20 different things. It can mean all these other running backs are injured. It could mean, it's why, like, when I say, like, there's a couple true RB1s, it's because they're being workhorsed, fed the ball, used properly on a good offense. That's, in my opinion, what makes a true RB1. Now, that's why I don't give a shit about value. Like Montgomery, right? Montgomery probably is like a top 10, top 15 back. If you add up all his, if he plays 6 games and you put those 6 games against the best other 6 running backs, he's probably top 10 RB. So the value thing just pisses me off, because it's a weak tactic that's used to sell things, and that's why it pisses me off because people love to use it. It's getting redundant. Like, because again, we've all been in the same league for the same amount of time. We understand, like, if it's hard to. So again, it's hard to argue. There's a lot of factors. Thielen is Thielen's a great example of Josh. Might see him one way. I might see him another. Dan might see him another way. Dan and Josh saw him similarly. Well, Dan was trying to get rid of him. Josh saw opportunity. So it really, I think it makes it really hard to trade with certain people when that's all they care about.
Yeah.
Like Monty should be treated like, bye weeks, everything, injuries. Monty, for instance, should be treated probably like a top 15 back, top 10, top 15 back, depending on how you see Jahmyr Gibbs' usage. And it's why it's not even worth arguing or like continuing a conversation when it gets brought up, because it's like, okay, well, you're not going to change someone's mind if they think highly of a player. It also makes it harder to trade. Yeah. I do it, so I'm very aware that I think very highly of a couple of my players.
My heart gets attached to certain dudes too, and
correct.
It
like we're not
their value.
We're not as much as we'd like to be. We're not a league where like I trade where I trade Lamar Jackson, like straight up. I have a bye week coming up, and I just trade Lamar Jackson for Patrick Mahomes. Like just a straight up swapsies or Josh Allen for Patrick Mahomes, something like that. Like, we just don't. Usually, there has to be a deficit and a need to make a trade. No one really sees value in like my guy Josh Jacobs, right? He's a top 5 RB. He's probably could be a better team. I have no one trying to reach out to me to buy him cheap. No one wants to buy Josh Jacobs cheap, and it's because he's probably on a rough offense and there's a lot of things going on with it. But he could end a top 5 RB this year. But you don't see me going out there trying to trade, it's again. So names are too big in our league. There's way too many factors, and the value attached to a player has so many different factors to it that it's almost asinine just to say he's a top 6, top 5 running back. End of story. Dan made a great point when Dan, and I'm sorry that I don't mean to harp on Justin or anybody like that, because we all do it, and I'm just this was the most recent example.
Correct.
But like Dan said a really good point. Like, there's a shitload of injuries this year. Like, it's sad. Like RB scoring sucks. Yep. And that's a great example. Like Robinson, I'm surprised Robinson's a top 6, but not really. Like, and if you look at his games, it's like Bijan. He's got a couple games that weigh him out. It's like A-Chain, right? I'm not trying to sit here and sell A-Chain. He's a top 3 back. Top 3 back, like 2 weeks in. Like, he's had 2 huge fucking games that are outliers. So yeah, no, I despise it. I would love just to take all those numbers away and see how people would play personally.
Yeah, right. It seems like my mind, I kind of look at them as like arbitrary numbers, and depending on how you pull the stats and the way you look at it, you're like,
Oh yeah,
the
could
last
shape it
3
either way.
weeks he did this. Well, and then in the total, the average was this. So it's like you could really kind of mess with them to really
Like Alvin
make
Kamara,
sure.
right? Like if you look at Alvin Kamara, like he's I mean, he's actually a bad one because he's still a top 5 RB, but like he's the number 1 RB if you start from week 3.
Yeah.
Number 1 RB. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
maybe because you don't know how he performs in those 3 games, but he's probably higher than 5 though.
well, no, I'm
is
just
what
saying,
you're
like
saying.
if you take like if you yeah, nah, I guess what I'm
Extrapolate.
saying,
I get what
yeah,
you're
if you
saying,
extract
but
like
yeah.
if
Yeah.
everything started at week 3, because it doesn't matter the first 2 weeks because
Mhm.
Alvin Kamara wasn't there. So
Right.
if the league starts in week 3, Alvin Kamara is number 1. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's annoying, very
Yep.
frustrating.
Yep.
And it's
And
more
that
frustrating.
really is what it was for me too. It's just frustrating. There is no right or wrong here. And my rant was just that, a rant. Josh, let me hear what you guys say, bud.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I agree with what Craig said, and just to go back even a little further, when Funk sent out my first offer, like the way I was looking at my offer was completely different from what Dan and Craig were looking at my offer original when I had Montgomery, I think Jones or someone, and then the players he still got. Because I was looking in at it from because like Craig said, I agree with the. I think especially this late in the year because injuries take such a toll, and it's easy to tell when a position is, like fragile because if your running back hasn't really done, like Rashad White, just for example, he was running back what 25, 26 in that range literally all year. And
Mm-hmm.
then as soon as I trade him, he had 2 good weeks and all of a sudden he's a top 10 back. Like 2 good weeks shouldn't jump you 15 spots, but that's where injuries come in, that's where, other stuff comes in and I'm not saying Rashad White's, we're over that part. But so and for me, it's all about how they get to that point too. And I've used this example for years, and people have given me crap for it about if you tell me that someone's a top 10 back and say ninth and 10th, right back, if the one person gets 100 points that week, but then they get 0 the next, and another person gets 50 and 50, in my eyes, the person who's the more consistent than that boom or bust, I guess it could depend on your roster, what you're looking for too, though. But
Right,
I'm
right.
going to consider that consistent person more of a, you know, top 10 back than I'm going to consider that person that had 1 or 2 boom games.
That outlier week, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
exactly. And so, like Craig said, we all value people differently and
right.
stuff like that, and we can't predict the future as much.
No.
If I would have known Rashad White was going to go off like that, yeah, I probably wouldn't have traded Dan him. I would have given him someone else, maybe. Yeah, I would have given him Aaron Jones or some shit, if he would have taken it, like whatever. And that's why, like, he keeps bringing it up. But like, dude, just as easily, Rashad White and yeah, and that's a whole nother thing. Like, fucking Chris Olave had nothing until Derek Carr went down, and then Jameis Winston comes in and does nothing but target Chris Olave. Like, that's just luck. Call
Yeah.
it what you will. That's just luck. It is. And stuff. So I do think though, like the where you drafted that person, kind of after week like 4 or 5, it goes out the window
Yeah,
in
it's
my
like
eye.
bust or not at that point, value or bust.
Okay.
Right. And then at that point, you just have to find the
I,
value. And like I said, I was going to real quick, Craig. I was going to go back to the Funk original offer I had sent. The way I had looked at it was, yes, Dan was right. Going from CMC down to Montgomery or whoever the RB1 of my offer was is a big step. But if what he would have given up between Montgomery or CMC and if I would have got what's his name, Wilson, if what I offered him scores more than them, then that improves his team. It's not just him losing one person because that's like, do you get what I'm saying? So like
I think
if the
that's the
position.
net scoring that Justin mentioned. With net scoring, like he's going to net more points getting rid of
Right.
CMC and gaining 4 players. But you gotta understand that's very situational, because if you send that trade to anybody else in the league, it's not going through because
right, and that's why I sent it to him, because he had the need that I had a surplus of. So that's why I sent it to him. And what was pissing me off about you and Dan Craig was because it wasn't like this is the only offer you're gonna get. I literally told Funk, like, offer me a
counter.
counter. And
Yeah,
he didn't at the
yeah,
time.
I
So,
feel it.
and honestly, the trade that went through, I'm the one that sent it to him. Like,
Nice.
or actually, no, I lied. He sent, because it was the morning of when he was like, "Hey, CMC on the trade block," and I was like, "Send me one." And he sent me Kamara, CD Lamb, Montgomery, and Tua. And I was like, "Dude, you're not getting both Kamara and Lamb." And honestly, I'd rather trade Kamara than Lamb. So essentially, you're not getting Lamb. And then so that's when he was like, "Well, how about Thielen?" So I was like, "Well, if you get Thielen, how about you throw in Garrett Wilson?" And that's when he was like, oh, there's a couple more back and forth of that, but then ultimately that's what we landed on and stuff. So like, and that's the kind of shit that needs to happen though, is like there needs to be
The
that
back and
back and
forth.
forth, right?
Yeah.
And like there are some, like I'm with Brent on this one. That's kind of ridiculous. Terry McLaurin for Cooper Cup, straight
It sounds
up,
like you were
like,
getting trolled. I don't know. That sounds like a troll.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
But I was
so
just
that one
having
I
some.
don't know if I would have, but like I said, and and that's the thing, like, don't take it personal. As long as everyone's cordial about it and whatever, like, don't take it personal if they say, "Hey, like, we just value this player differently," or this, what I mean, and it's just not going to work out. Funk and I had that multiple times this year. Me and Justin have had that multiple times this year where it's like, we're close, but I just don't think we're going to get over that edge,
Sure.
and so it's all up to the person on how they view everything else, but I'm kind of with Craig. Like,
I think
it's all
one of the best stats that people should use to value players is where they land that week. Because consistency, I agree. Like you said with the 100 points and 50-50, I think consistency is the hardest thing to find in a fantasy football player. So you got like Amon Ra, Diggs, you got all these guys that perform pretty much every week. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Mhm.
That's like, I agree. That's way more valuable than the boom and bust guys, right? And I think it's better to look at like the weeks they play, where they land. Like, so
Right.
again, easy, low hanging fruit. Every week Montgomery plays, it's probably within a really good range. Every week he's actually playing. I
Not
think that's a
according to
much.
Dan.
I think that's a much better statistic to look at. Well, I do think, we can stop talking about the value part, but I do think on that trade, I want to say one. Originally when what you sent out, that I mentioned something, and I know Dan was going off on it. That was really close. Like, you were really close. You were. I literally, I think we said, like, you're like one player off from that being like a legit trade, which was one of your better players rather than like Aaron Jones. Like,
Yeah, but go ahead.
I see why you did it, and I get, like, you were looking for a counter and stuff like that, and that's fair.
Well, the whole
But
point of that
then,
was I was trying to pair Kamara and CMC. Like, that was the whole point of that. So like, I was
yeah, but everyone.
originally
That's what I'm
wasn't
saying. Like, everyone's. I think that's what we saw. So you tie CMC with your other best 4 players. Like,
right,
it would
but
have
I
been.
wasn't giving him shit though. I was giving him 2 RBs. I was giving him an upgrade. All that would have accumulated way more production than what CMC was giving him.
Well,
The
yeah. I
two
mean,
RBs
five player.
alone.
But that's
But
because,
that's what
again,
I
you
mean.
said you.
It's value though. Like, if you're trying to improve your team, like, what else is a
Is it
haul? Like, you're not gonna get 5 superstars for one player. Like, you're just not gonna do that.
correct? Which is why a bunch of mid-tier players for a top-tier player isn't usually a good trade, Josh. That's why you need to have something juicy.
It is when your
Because
other players suck. And see, this is where we're getting in trouble, because how do you view Montgomery?
Montgomery, I
'Cause-
view rest of season as a top, probably now with Jameer Gibbs being good, a top 15 guy. From now until the rest
So,
of season, I will give him top
mhm.
15.
So
Jones,
top
top
15.
top. Jones is landing in the 25 range. He's hot and cold. The Packers suck, and like,
Yeah.
he's not good. You were trying to
And
give
that's
him a
fair.
top 15 back, a top 30 back, a top 30 wide receiver. The Zay Flowers things was insulting. That's what I'm saying. It was a bunch of mid-tier players with you keeping all of your best guys and getting CMC. It was close
I wasn't
because you
keeping
are
all my
correct.
best guys though.
You get rid of Tua. That was,
Oh
I
my
think Tua
God.
was your most valuable player. You're not.
He's
You
not
got
more valuable than Monty. Like you can't make the
CMC.
argument that well he is, but the players I'm giving up, like I would still consider Monty more valuable than Tua. You can't make the argument that QB's the one of the least valuable positions and then say, oh well, he was the best player on that trade, because clearly not. Montgomery, when he was healthy, now
Montgomery.
he
Montgomery
was
was the best
there.
player in that
And
trade.
like I said about the other RB, if Funk really wanted James Conner is a top 20 back easy when he's back.
Maybe.
So he's getting
You're not
two.
wrong. Again, though, that's all.
So
It's
he's getting
you're
that. I
dealing
get
it.
the Zay Flowers thing, but at the same time,
Yeah.
when I'm giving him a top 5 QB, I'm giving him 2 top 20 running backs. I didn't know who else to give him.
I get
not
it.
giving.
I get it. I get it. You
And if
didn't
he
want
would
to
have
dip
came
into your
back,
pool. You didn't want to dip into your pool,
and
which
at
is
the
fine.
time, I wasn't getting Garrett Wilson. So then, if I
Right.
give him Adam Thielen, that leaves me with just CeeDee Lamb at my wide receiver. So this is
I
where
get you.
some of that give and take goes. Do you want that one superstar that Funk has in CMC, but then you have literally almost nothing else at your RB2? Najee's hit and miss, but he's not a consistent anything. Damian Pierce has been non-existent,
For
so
now,
like
yeah.
right for now. So he gets a huge upgrade, even if we take out,
Well,
Aaron
I have
Jones.
no problem with your trade. Your trade that you made at the end of the day, I really have no
but
problem with.
right, I'm
But
just
your
saying
original trade was a bunch of mid-tier for high-tier. I'm sorry.
it's
You
not
can look
mid. How
again
is it mid-tier? I don't get
because
it.
it's all speculation. You're saying you're giving them a bunch of top 15, top. The only person I agree was Monty. Everybody else is a speculation play. Jones,
Yeah,
Flowers.
because Flowers and Jones were
Well,
iffy,
right,
and then
and once again, you guys are acting
people would
like
make
this
the
is a
argument
Tua
final
scores
thing.
QB off the waiver.
No,
If he
we're
would have,
just saying watch why we were upset with the first one.
if he would have came back with, and this is why I didn't want, like, even though I said he could throw it in there, I didn't want it to, because if he would have came back with, hey, how about you switch out Jones with Connor? How about you switch out Jones with Monty? I still probably would have done it with Monty, or he already had.
How happy would have you been if you just accepted that trade? How happy would you have
Right?
been? You would have been
Same with,
so happy.
yeah, but his team would have
3 and a
still been
quarter.
upgraded. His team would have still been upgraded.
He would start winning games.
Trevor Lawrence hasn't scored 20 points all year. So
No
Tua's
one's arguing.
automatically
No one's arguing that that's an upgrade.
right. So you're
He
saying
gets
overall,
He gets 5 more points from his QB.
All right. Well, every time I keep trying to defend myself, you interrupt me. So I guess we're done with this conversation.
The net scoring thing is definitely how you look at it. But 2 running backs that equal 1 running back.
So how is that bad? Because you still get upside with those, and you get better upside at your other positions. I don't get how that's a bad thing.
It was for like one of the top guys in fantasy.
Yeah, I if you can't see what I'm saying, that's fine. I get it.
What was his record with the top guy in fantasy?
I get that argument.
I'm just letting
you know where the other side comes from, right? The other side is coming from.
And I'm not saying you guys had to accept it. All I'm saying is it's not a bad trade like some people are claiming it is.
I will say I'm a little worried about your depth now, Josh.
Well, thanks to you guys, I had to get rid of it all. So there you go.
Thanks to me, it's nothing to do with us.
Yeah, because Funk was probably going to accept that, and then he threw that in there, and then he does what Funk does and just didn't say anything. Like, just goes to me.
Why do you think Funk threw it in group chat? Why do you think Funk threw it in group chat?
Because he wanted confirmation. Because he didn't know what to do. Because he wanted to accept it.
He was getting raped. He was worried he was getting finagled. Yeah.
No, because if he was that worried,
my last point. Bunch of mid players for the best player in fantasy. If you can't see why putting not one of your top 5 players in there is insulting to people who look at that and like you're taking advantage of the worst team in the league again, then
Yeah, but
I
you're
don't
acting
know
like
what
I'm
you want.
offering him a bunch of wide receiver 3s and RB 3s.
You
Like,
did. They were all. It's a RB 34, wide receiver 34, RB 20 something.
oh
You
my
know what I'm
god,
saying?
because there are. Oh, okay. You know what?
No,
I'm
that's
done.
the value thing. See, that's the useless. Yeah, okay. I used the that was a
Yeah.
battery. That was a bait. That was a bait. I'm sorry. The Monty is a top 15 guy for sure. Everything else is speculation, though. Everything else is speculation.
Well, you
Mhm.
could say CMC's production is
Consistent?
speculation because
No, he's consistent.
what if he gets injured?
That's
Then I'm
okay.
screwed.
Okay.
I just
Yeah,
gave
you
up
are screwed.
everything and I'm
And you just
screwed.
gave up all your depth. But I do like the fact that you have CeeDee Lamb, who
But it's
arguably
not
might
really
be
depth
moving.
that they're all shitty players. How
What?
is it? How is it depth that they're all shitty players? Like just because I have players on my roster and they're not good, that's not depth.
High ceiling. No, because they still
Oh, so
produce.
they
They
all
just don't
high
produce it.
ceiling. You're making them.
No, they got no.
They
Again,
can't be shitty. They can't be
no.
mid-tier players and have a high ceiling. Like
I just keep coming back to Monty. I'm sorry. Jones is trash, and so is Zay Flowers.
and
Unfortunately, who was great.
well,
I
Zay
would love to have Tua.
Flowers isn't trash. He just right now in that offense, he's just not doesn't have the high ceiling. He's getting 10 to 12 points most weeks.
That's fair.
So it's not he's not trash. That's where
No,
I'm getting
I think there are a
upset
lot of
is you
twos and
guys are
threes. A lot
throwing
of twos and
But if
threes.
he's getting 10
generalizations
to
out there.
12 every week, that would be the definition of a mid to low tier player.
And I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing Zay Flowers. All right. I'm not arguing him. I'm arguing the
What about
rest of
Jones
the
then?
players.
Jones is
Jones is what's Jones?
And once again, I offered it, but it was not final. He could have countered if he wanted something different. And
That's
I am
fair.
saying I
I am
was
gonna
willing
say
to make the trade.
sure.
So
I'm glad
that's
Funk
where
reached out. I'm glad he got Kamara because that looks pretty good now. And Thielen. And you take over Garrett Wilson, who had a really great game. He might be turning it up. Maybe
Garrett
maybe
Wilson's
Garrett
a top
Wilson.
16 receiver with Zach Wilson at the helm.
Yeah.
So
Did you hear Aaron
and
Rodgers might be coming back in December?
well, and that's another reason I wanted Garrett Wilson in there because
Mhm.
if Rodgers comes back, I think that just turns him into a top 8 receiver.
Yeah, if he comes
And
back for
then
sure. I
so I
wonder if he
mean it's a
will.
risk. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, if he comes back, it doesn't mean he's gonna do anything. He might
True.
re-tear that Achilles.
And with your current trade, again, I was trying to say you have quite a scary team with CeeDee Lamb and McCaffrey now. You have quite a formidable team if everyone stays healthy for sure.
I know all my mid players are so formidable. It's great.
You salty boy, I'm sorry. It's a shit fucking trade. Get the fuck over it. Shit fucking trade. You tried to rape Funk. You got pissed when you couldn't rape him. And then you had to give him a fair trade. You had to hold up one of your boys. Now it's
And
whatever.
did I complain about that? About me having to do that? No, I did it.
You
If
seem
Funk
quite
would
upset that we shit on your first trade. You seem quite
yeah,
upset.
because it wasn't that shitty of a trade.
Yes, it fucking was. It was a trash fucking
No, it
trade.
was
You
not.
know it. You would have
No,
been
it
so
was
upset
not.
if that went through. Whatever. All right.
Yeah, everybody would have.
We can agree
That's
to
a
disagree.
stupid argument. Just like Barber would have been happy about that. Like that's a stupid argument.
What?
Your argument. Oh, you would have been so happy if that went through. Obviously, that's why I
Yeah.
sent it.
Because you weren't giving up that much. I get it.
I was giving up much. It's like ridiculous.
It's one, yeah. No, it's one of those where we're never gonna come to
This is why this is why no one trades with
But
me.
this is
You know
why
what I'm
we
saying?
had to have this topic, this discussion, because these things happen in fantasy throughout the year, all year, where it's like I'm way over here, and then I've got Justin over here, and it's like I want to scream at him, but he's on the other side of the state, and I know like sometimes he's even probably trolling or joking, and it's like, so it's like, it's just, it's okay. It's okay that we don't necessarily agree on that trade. It's okay that we value people differently, for sure.
Well, right, and it's all about how what is said person, so in this case Funk, what is he trying to get from CMC? Because like I said, like especially Kamara, I still feel I overpay because Kamara is probably the only one that's in even close to CMC's tier with usage in the passing game and everything else. He's probably one, or I shouldn't even say 1B, but he's probably CMC 1, Kamara 2, and then you can start your tier from there. So you're getting someone in somewhere, in similar ilk. I, I probably shouldn't even gave him Monty or one of Thielen or Monty because, like I said, if you're getting that, but because he threw in Garrett Wilson, like that was my thing. Like if you wanted CeeDee Lamb, you're not getting CeeDee Lamb and Monty and Tua and this. Like you're not getting that. I'm sorry, that's not happening.
No,
You're not.
I agree there. Yeah, you don't have to give 4 amazing pieces to get CMC. I get that.
Did you try to shrink it a little bit? Did you try like Kamara and one other piece maybe just to get CMC? Out of curiosity, or were you trying to go balls to the wall for it?
Well, no, because I didn't want to have to defend myself because I threw out a shitty trade again and go through all this shit. So I just decided to pony up, pay the bill for it, and I got Garrett Wilson in there, and it is what it is.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious. I guess with how much help Funk needs on his team, it was probably smart to have extra pieces and try to get something else out of him with Garrett Wilson. I don't mind the trade that went through at the end of the day. I do think, unfortunately, depth. I mean, you still got some decent depth looking at your team. You're all right. You'll be okay. Rashi Rice, baby. Did you drop him?
No.
Still there? Oh, there he is. Yeah. Well, what do you think about Dan's comment of you gave up 6 players for 1?
I could care less about what Dan says on these topics. He's such a hypocrite a lot of times. It's ridiculous.
I just want to say this. I love the way you work trades, Josh. I don't care if you come out on top or not because you're out there making deals where half these guys are too scared to even take a chance. Like,
Right.
I love that you do that. Just like, not to give him too much credit here, but I love the way Dan runs his team at times because he just seems to be really on point with pickups and all that fun stuff. So, and he occasionally works a trade, and it's usually
Right.
either even or he gets a little of an edge. So yeah, and no, definitely don't listen to that shit from him. He's
No,
great.
and I'm not. And like I said, he's a hypocrite, and not every time he is, but like when that first trade came out, when that first trade came out, he's like, "Oh, Montgomery's not a top 20 back. Neither is I forgot who else or whatever." And he's like, "Because they were injured." I'm like, "Yeah, because they're injured, dude." Like, and by your standards, you're sitting there offering fucking Justin Jefferson. He's not a top 20 wide receiver at this point because
Right.
he's been injured for 4 weeks. Like, and then on top of that, he's not going to be there a 5th week. So Funk would be without Justin Jefferson for the first week he gets him, and he would be without him week 13 when he has his bye. So that's 2 weeks when you're trying to make the playoffs that you're not going to have the best player that you just gave up CMC for. Like, to where that argument made no sense to me. And like I said, it was funny because when it was like Dan was like, "Don't trade CMC to Josh," and then I was like, "He's getting a haul," and Dan's like, "Well, it better include James Conner or this," or he said James Conner and Monty, otherwise it's not a haul. He said nothing about Alvin Kamara, nothing about CeeDee Lamb, nothing about no one, and then the trade comes out and it didn't have James Conner, but it had Aaron Jones, which whatever your point, Funk could have came back for James Conner, but it had Monty and it had other pieces, and he's like, "Oh, that's a trash trade." Like, dude, you said nothing about that yesterday.
I
Like,
think
for it to be a
everyone knows
haul.
Dan says every trade's
So,
a trash trade. That, to be
so
fair, Dan
and
Dan
yeah,
says every trade is bad. Yeah.
and yeah, it's looking like he won our trade. Congratulations, dude. If you don't win a championship, it meant nothing. Just like
True.
all these trades that I'm making. Now, granted,
Right.
it's a little different now that we're keeper. Like, that was another reason I made that trade for CMC because, especially if I get a
Good keeper.
situation where, like, yeah, Dan, he's my, where I'm 9, 10, whatever.
9-10. Great keeper.
Yep, he's my keeper now. Even if I'm like 5th or something, I still probably will keep him and stuff. Toward that makes it a little different where you might trade, kind of thinking about that. But for the most part, if the trade doesn't help you win a championship, It means nothing. Like they can outscore. I'll let you trade rate me every year, Dan, if that means that you don't win a championship. That's fine with me, buddy. I'm okay with that. You know.
What if he wins, Josh? What if he fucking wins, dude?
If
What
he
if he
wins,
goes
then
and puts up 180 because the Browns defense scores 1,000,000,000 points?
Craig? What do you want me to do? You want me to just not do anything? You want me to be boring and just sit there and not make trades? Like, well, guess what? If
Well,
other people in
my
this, if other
selfish
people in
answer
this,
is yes.
yeah, but if other
My
people would make
selfish
trades in
answer.
this league, I would, that's also part of the, like, I probably wouldn't trade Dan, honestly, if other people would make trades, but no one does. There's like 3 people that make trades in this league, and that's it, and
Trading has been rough. I will say it's really like I was kind of trying to think on that topic. It's kind of hard, right? Like I want to trade. I think everyone wants to trade for the most part, but like it really
everyone's
depends
trying to
on your
be,
position. Your
yeah, and
position where
also,
you're at, and like if you were winning more, I don't think you would have wheeled and dealed as much as you did. And if you have to think about it, if you had 5 wins right now and you have all those players back on your team, obviously this is hindsight and hypothetical, but like
well, right.
you'd be looking really good. You know what I'm saying? If you had all those players back on your team.
Well, right, and I know Dan's gonna be injuries aren't an excuse, but they are when they happen in game.
And
Like,
you're losing.
and that
Well, yeah.
right, that's what I mean though. Like when all my players, like I said, at one point half of my bench is injured players. Like, what am I can't do none, and no one's gonna trade for injured players, not for their value, and not that I
Sure.
blame them. So like you can only do one thing, and on top of it, like I'm going on a rant. I'm sorry, but it's also happened. It also, as much as people would say it's not luck, it's skill. Like, yeah, the trading and stuff is skill, but it's also somewhat luck because you have to
Oh,
count on that person to
100%.
keep doing it. Like
Bro, it's
perfect example.
99% luck and vibe. It's all
Well, right.
vibe and luck.
Yeah.
Like, and for example, that luck.
I don't think anyone would argue that.
Dan has the least points against. I can only play the schedule. I know, and I went through and did this thing of if he had the most points against, like I do, and so we played 10 games. So I divided that by 10, came back to like 23 points a game or something like that. So I went back. It was like, hey, if each of your opponents scored 23 more points a week, what would your record be? He would have the same record as me, and I did the vice versa. If my opponent scored 23 points less a week, I would have had his record. So like it's all about luck, for
Yeah.
that aspect of who you face.
And why can't we all be in that same fucking that's true. And why can't we all be there? Why can't we all be there? You know what I'm saying? Every disagreement and argument that happens in this league strays from that box.
Yeah.
There's the reality, right? There's the reality.
Yeah.
It's like Lamar Jackson. Oh, he's a trash quarterback. He's a trash quarterback, Craig. No, their defense and their whole team is just fucking blowing people out. He doesn't need to throw the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets so frustrating when you talk about stuff like that. But again, vibe's a big play. Vibe is a big play.
Well,
Vibe is big.
Well, right, and then you have all those situations in game that are factors of. I had that situation with CD Lamb for the first like 4 weeks of they were just blowing everybody out of the water by halftime, and so he would get me 8 to 10 points, which is fine. But as my wide receiver 1, I can't have that. But it's not because he's sucking; it's just because they're taking him out at halftime because they're up on the Patriots 38-3 or whatever.
But this is why we will continue to never have a lot of trades in the league because that's the mentality, right? And I will say, Josh, your trades are fine. Whatever you like, they're hit and miss. That's fine. We've said it in the past. I don't want to keep saying it to butter your bread. Your trades are fine. You do fair trades. It's fine. Everyone throws a bad trade out there once in a while, but like, if we can't get around this fucking like the whole point of the start of this conversation with Brenstead, with he's a top 6 guy, he's a top 10 guy. Your team's bad. Your quarterback, Josh Allen, is bad. No, like what the fuck? Like until you can just get onto the same level as someone and be like, yeah, no, Monty's top 10 guy. Like I like him a lot. Jones, I don't like. I haven't liked Jones for years. I think he's trash. I think they're drinking.
Well,
unless you can like
this
talk
year
to
he
him like
has
that,
been
it
shit.
doesn't fucking.
Yeah.
We're never
doesn't.
gonna get past it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm pretty sure only 4 of us talk in the group chat because we just like fucking badgering each other. But
Right.
that's why I think
And
it's way better if you want to do a trade, you talk to someone personally, like Barbara. I love the way Barbara does it. I've mentioned it to 2 other people. Like Barbara has only presented me 1 trade this year, and it was beautiful. And the way he did it, didn't do it. Fuck you, Barbara. I wanted him.
Fuck you, Barbara.
Piece of shit. But Like that's how it should be done. Like you can't like and Funk.
Well,
I don't think Funk's. I just don't think Funk. I think Funk wanted an outside opinion because he didn't know what to do.
Well,
which
then,
is
like, he doesn't communicate well, right?
Right.
It's kind of like if you reach out to him, you may or may not hear back from him. So I
That's
think he
true.
did it
Right.
as like a quick avenue to get an answer of like, should I do it or not? I don't know. So he threw it in the group
right.
chat.
Well, and like that was the thing too, is like if you know, like I said, like I didn't agree with your guys' takes, and then he like that's why when he sent me the trade with like Kamara and Lamb, I'm like, no, dude, you let these guys get to your head. Like you're not getting that. Like, I'm sorry, you're just
No,
not.
yeah,
And but if he would, if he would have came back and been like, hey, like I really want one of these two guys, they're a must in a trade like this, I would have been like, okay, fair. And like I said, every single trade I sent. So when you say, and that's another thing that pisses me off, when you say I'm trying to trade rate Funk, no, because guess what? If I was trying to trade rate Funk, I would not have resent the trade so that he got his players back. I would have screwed him over where he would have had empty roster spots and not been able to fill them because we sent the trade through thinking that because
it wouldn't process.
Thielen had that Thielen had already played that the whole trade wouldn't process.
Right.
But instead what happened was Thielen had played and then I think one or two other players were playing. So those players didn't get sent over, but the players who hadn't started their games yet, they got sent over to the other teams. And
What's
if
up
I
with
was
that
trying
shit?
to I don't know, it's weird. So that's why
It was
we
fucking
quickly
bullshit.
were like, yeah, but if I was trying to trade rape Funk and I'm like, hey, and you can ask Funk this, he'll verify it. I'm like, hey, just so you know, like this trade won't go through, blah blah, because of this. Are you sure you want to do this? Hey, this person's on a buy. Are you sure you want to do this? Blah blah. Like, I don't ever try to send an unfair trade. Might it be less than what you want? Yes, but then that's when it's your responsibility to come back and tell me, hey,
Right.
that's an okay trade, but I'm actually looking for your team. You need to include
100%.
one of these players. So that's
100%,
why when
yeah.
you guys come here and say like, "Oh, it's a trash trade," okay, it might be, but how do I know he thinks that? He might be
Well,
higher on Aaron
understand
Jones
too.
than you guys.
That's a trash
He
trade in my eyes because of the reasons I've stated. It doesn't mean it's necessarily true because fantasy football is
Well, right, exactly. And
all
then like I
about it.
said, it was more of that, and then now you were just saying, I was trying to trade her. I'm like, no, because I always verify with people that they know if there's anything that might be shady or this
You
or that. So like,
consent before you rape someone? That's insane.
Bro, like maybe I'm
yeah,
sorry. Let me soften my words. You tried to take advantage of them. Is that better?
it's
Less
still
than
the
rape?
same answer. It don't
Why are
matter
you
if you
fucking
use rape or
raping the shit
take
out of P
advantage.
Funk? Like you're taking it I get it. You're right. I get what you're saying. I don't think it was that bad at the end of the day. I like to be dramatic, but yeah, I didn't like the first one. Second one was interesting. Got your stuff a bit, bud. If only you had hindsight. If only you
If
could
only
see
we
into the
all had
future.
hindsight. I know.
God.
Only Dan can do that. And that's why he's the greatest. Unstoppable, that guy.
You just scored 160 fucking points against me, dude.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you were so shitty that week that
Yeah, it didn't
he
matter.
could have benched the players I traded him. And to be fair,
Trust
he did
me.
bench Cleveland's defense, which would have been even more points against you. So
Yeah, I went through every scenario in my head, and I'm like, I'm just not going to say anything because I fucking just put up a shit game. And then somehow
well,
we
and
got to talking, and I said something, and he's like, "Aha! Well, I beat you without that trade." I'm like, "Fuck you." Yeah, you're right.
it's funny because I was going back and forth because like all last week I didn't say anything because you guys had pissed me off. So I was just like, I'm done. I was how Brent said earlier, like turn the notification off. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Turn the notification off. Just spend time with my family. Whatever. It was great Sunday. It was great. And then I start arguing with Dan. Today and well, not even today, but like yesterday and shit. And then today, like I was trying to get under his skin, and I'm just like, what? Why am I doing this? Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
listen, even if like, I don't know if it was get under skin, not whatever, because. But I was just like, but then I was like, I don't want to stop because I don't want to go silent and then he'd be like, oh, see, look, he has nothing to say because I got him.
I have to keep fighting.
So then when you took over, Craig, and started talking with him, I was like, thank God I can stop.
Yeah. Did you see how I completely like didn't want to argue either? I'm like, yeah, you're right. I sucked. I should have played better. Like I'm not
Right.
trying to do this argument now, this hypothetical bullshit of Oh my
Right.
god, it's all hindsight arguments, right? Like if he lost
Right.
by 80 points, he's not saying anything either. So
No,
it's
exactly.
the beauty of the game we play.
The
That's
beauty
for
of it.
sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and the funny part too about the intro when because Brent, I thought about all this stuff today while at work. You know, you figure I'd be working or something, but how Brent was like,
No
"Oh,
one
we're
works. We
week."
all just think about fantasy. Sorry.
I
Right.
know he's like Brent's like, "Oh, you know, it's week whatever, blah blah." I was thinking that today. I was like, "Man, you could tell like everyone's kind of just tuckered out about fantasy football right now. Like it's just because like the group chat has slowed down so significantly and stuff. And granted, I know we're coming to the holiday season, so people are busier and stuff that also affects it. But it's just funny because like I mean, you have your couple like Funk rarely says anything in there, Mac rarely says anything in there, Nate every once in a while, you know, but like even I forgot like I sent something I was like, "Oh, Shane, sucks that you know, played your perfect lineup and you still lost." And like it was crickets for like 3 hours and I'm like, "Man, usually someone's on top of that."
Dude,
Like,
I am guilty of being one of the few people who floods the fuck out of that group chat. And I'm telling you right now, if
yeah,
I'm not talking in that group chat, not a lot of people are talking in that group chat.
there's 4 of us. It's
There's
me,
4 of
you,
us.
Dan, and
Dan and
Justin.
Justin. Yeah, those are the
The
4, dude.
We're the 4 that flood it, and a lot of times it's just 2 of us, whether it's arguing or
Right.
whatever.
And it's always something that shouldn't be in the group chat.
Yeah,
It's always something.
I don't
I
know
love
how
it.
many times, whether it's fantasy or sometimes other stuff, where I'm just like, and sometimes it's not even arguing. It's just going back and forth about something with someone. I'm like,
I'm pretty
no,
sure
no one in this group chat cares. They're all probably pissed.
I feel like an ass half the time. I'm like, God, I feel like a fucking
Mhm.
asshole. Like, I'm just not.
Yeah,
I'll just stop putting shit in the group message. I probably look like a fucking dick. Like, I don't want to look like a dick. My bad. I'll just stop talking. But all I know is
right.
that if the 4 of us quit talking in that group chat, the next message in there is going to be like, "Who wants to golf this Sunday?" Because it's going to be June. It's going to be June, and no one will have talking.
100%.
Well, we need to, especially now that more people have kids and stuff, we need to kind of try and set up the weekend up north a little sooner than we
Yep.
usually do. Just to make it a little easier for people to go up there. Then,
Ugh.
hey, it's June. We have a month and a half to figure something out. So
Yeah, get that weekend plugged in for next summer. I'll get it off now.
yeah, me too. Because I'll have way more time off now because I took 3 weeks off for Gabriella being born, so I'll have a lot more time off as well. So, all right, you boys want to jump into these matchups?
Definitely.
Okay. So real quick, I just wanted to say I know I kind of already said it in the group chat, but we are boys. There's a lot of people from 4 to 10 that could be anywhere in that order. Now, some are less likely to be 10 and some less likely to be, up there at 4, but it's 4 to 10 is all within 2 games, and even like honestly, if like Dan, Mac, or Justin, if they have a little slide, they could slide out of the top 3. I think those 3 are pretty like on sleeper. They don't have the percentages like ESPN did to like make the playoffs, but like I give Justin 99% chance unless his team just like shits the bed and posts like 50 points a week going forward. I think he's a solid, even if he loses all 4 games, he's a solid in the playoffs. Dan and Mac, sorry, Mac. I think they're about 95%. Just because they have high points for as well. So, and even then, it'd be very hard for them to miss the playoffs. I think like all of us would have to win all 4, which is obviously impossible. So, but everyone else, like I said, it's 5-5 or lower, all the way down to 3-7, which isn't, so everyone's still in it. It's going to be tight. That's why these matchups this week are, really going forward are going to be, really clutch.
I'm gonna send Justin like $100 to bench all his players so I can get a win.
Well,
Look out
Craig,
for the text.
you also got your bye week hell coming up too in 2 weeks.
Yeah, my whole plan was to just have enough. Like, if I can win the next 2 weeks, I'll just
You're
fucking I'll just
Tank
leave a
for
bunch
me?
of holes. Yeah, you can have that win. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm literally trying. Like, I've been trying to play for the playoffs up to this point, and then after
Yeah.
last week, I'm like, well, this could be bad. Like, I might be fighting for a spot here. So we'll see
Well,
what happens.
I was hoping for you to miss the playoffs, but now I hope you win the next 2 games so you tank give me a free win. Let's go.
100%. I'm not
Let's
dropping any of my
go.
bench players. If I win the next 2 weeks, I'll just play. I'll get 60 points, whatever, 40 points, and be done.
I'm down for that.
Until
All right,
the commissioner makes it a rule that you have to have a legal starting lineup, which there is no rule
oh my
that
god!
exists. So
Can you
take
imagine
advantage.
the hell that would break loose on that because of
Well, yeah,
chances are
because
like I'll be fighting with someone.
someone's gonna exactly. It'll be
It
such good drama. It will be
would be.
it'll be the cherry on top of this season. That is
Oh,
what it would be.
it's
The
been the
cherry on top
most
of
dramatic season for sure. You know, tensions. So
I lose. I lose it every week.
real quick,
Get
just to go
tired.
just to go back a little bit. I had this fantasy today, so weird way to start it. But that because Dan's been talking all this shit about the trade, whatever, blah blah. I was like, how great would it be? Well, first of all, the ultimate fantasy would be for me to face him in the championship game and then beat him and then make him give me the money for for winning it all. That'd be the ultimate fuck you, dude.
Make sure you blow a load in that hand before you take
Oh,
that money
dude.
from them.
I will,
And
and it'll be like dry ink, but not dry. Like, oh, it'll be great.
just
Okay.
slightly sticky, coagulated. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
exactly.
That's how I like my
Uh,
semen.
all right, let's start this off. Let's start with Mac versus Nate. Let me go down there. And this is hard because there's some people that haven't set their lineups yet or have to wait for waivers and stuff.
Bro, what's his name? I'm sorry.
Dobbs, yeah. Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs. I never really caught the translation about how much he peppered. I'm thinking, what's the tight end from Cardinals that got injured? I can't think of his name right now.
Well, Zach Ertz.
Yeah, how much he peppered him. That
Oh,
transfers over to Hawkinson like that. That's crazy if that continues.
Dude,
That's fucking crazy.
he had almost 50% target share.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Imagine if that remains even if it's like 10% less, that's still fucking nutty, dude. That's insane.
Right. Oh man, man, this is tough because Nate's team's known to just go off, but so is Max, obviously. In that Charger stack, man, when it has a
holy
matchup,
shit. When I was
when
watching
it
that Lions game, I'm like, huh, that triple
that,
stack's a monster.
yeah,
Right? I know,
Taylor,
bro.
Taylor, Taylor.
When it
Eckler,
hits, it
Eckler,
fucking
Eckler.
hits, dude.
well, it was funny. I'm pretty sure the entire first drive, it was Herbert was either passing it to Allen or Eckler, or it was an Eckler run. It was all those 3 players. Like no one
It's
else.
all those three.
Yeah, no one else was involved. I'm like, oh man, I'm glad I'm not facing Mac right now. But yeah, I mean, they have a great matchup against Green Bay. That's not a great defense. We just said about Hawkinson. Assuming he's probably going to put Waddle in for Pittman. Man, I gotta go. I gotta go Mac here. I just like the matchups a little better. Yeah, I'm gonna go.
I think Nate finds a way to win. I'm gonna go Nate. They
Ooh,
they
okay.
both have some hot players, honestly.
Yeah,
Both their matchups
agreed.
are decent, and we'll just play the percentage game that the Chargers hit last week, so they're not going to hit this week. They're coming off an ass whooping
Up
from
down
the
theory.
future Super Bowl champs.
B man, who you going?
I'm gonna go with Mac. I like Mac in this one.
Everyone wants to save the percentage at the end of the year. Got it. Go for it. Yeah.
Speaking of percentages, I forgot to go over those. So last week's results. Um, Shane went 4-1.
Ooh.
Our guests actually did a solid job. Shane and Dan went 4-1, and Justin went 3-2. So not too shabby from them, but that's only 1 week. And an
Right.
example of how 1 week can be, I went 5-0 this week. B man, you went 2-3. Craig, you want to guess what you went, buddy? I'm gonna let you know now. It starts with the 0.
0.5? 0.5?
Close,
It
buddy. You
translates. Everything translates, dude. Everything,
Yeah.
I was
I'm
doing this, right? If this is the graph, I was doing this, this.
Mm-hmm.
Just dying. I'm just dying.
Well, you are because
Uh,
you are. So I'm 28-22 on the year. B man's 24-26, and now you're 20-30.
I
Craig.
pick with my heart. Just call me Shane
That's right.
Falco.
Well, just like everything else in fantasy, just remember Dan and Shane both would not have a loss right now.
right. Yeah,
They
they
would.
gotten them all
They,
right, except
yeah,
for when they were with us.
they would be 50-0, at their house. So
They're running 80%, dude. They're running 80% strong.
yeah. So, all right, next matchup. Let's go Barber versus Shane here. Should be a good one. Team accountability versus TBD. And yeah, I'm going. He's got his stud back in Tyreek Hill. Jamar Chase will be a week stronger. Yeah, I'm going. I'm going Barber on this one.
Yeah, I agree too with Denver turning out decently. Javante is really coming up. He's a hot target right now. And Brees Hall, I mean, his team is looking better each week. So I will go
Yeah,
Barber as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna
B-Man.
go Barber as well. I think if Shane had T. Higgins and Geodert, is that his name?
Yo,
Geodert.
dude.
Yeah, got it.
Geodert. Ah,
Got it.
yes.
You go there.
The Geodert. If he had those two guys, I think this is a very close match. Maybe even leaning with Shane. But yeah, I'm gonna go Barber.
What if Shane had Bijan Robinson? Would that make a difference?
No,
He'd have less touchdowns.
no.
I
Yeah,
know. Shane's like, oh, Bijan got a touchdown. I'm like, maybe he shouldn't have, and you might have won. It's like,
It does have a very good matchup, but Burrow against Baltimore, I think that hurts Burrow more than it hurts Chase. So
right. And same with Allen is against the Jets, but I think he actually did relatively well. I mean,
they just fired their
like,
OC.
he had
he
an
did.
awful week last week. He got 16. So I mean, he had 10 points against the Jets in week 1, but they'll be home. So like I said, I think he'll be fine. I don't know if he'll put up like 30 points, Josh Allen,
Yeah.
but where I think to your point, Craig, that the Baltimore versus Burrow will be probably more of a detriment to him than the Jets to Allen and stuff. And I don't know, that Seattle stack isn't really working for Shane. Like
Yeah,
that
Seattle's looking rough.
Not
Metcalf's
gonna
been
lie, I saw
fine.
Shane's 5-5, and I was like, "How's that garbage 5-5? Get him out of here."
Geno Smith is not playing well this year,
No,
unfortunately.
No, I got
Geno,
lucky last week.
yeah, Geno Smith is just not what he was last year,
Yeah, I
and it's
think
really hurting their team.
last week was like his only good game of the year, so that's why I was like, got lucky a little bit. But that was probably more of the matchup than anything. I'm also picking Barber because he could go to 5-6, and then Shane would be 5-6, and then if whoever wins between Brennan and I, we go to 5. Like it's just going to create more chaos if everyone stays, you know, in that bubble. So
Get
that's
me
another reason I
out.
picked
Just
him.
let me in the playoffs for the love of God.
I know I'll face anybody. I don't care. All right, let's go. Dan versus Funk. Let's go that one. Man, part of me wants to say this is a huge letdown game for Dan, but I don't know because who knows if Madison's gonna play, and that's where this kind of sucks for
Madison
Dan
is
and
not
Dan.
going to play.
Well,
I'm
that's
just
where it
curious
sucks for.
who's gonna get that 1 week play and what's his face this week, whoever picks him up.
Well, right, and that's where it sucks for Dan being the ninth waiver is he might not get anyone, so he's gonna try to sling one of those, 6 top 10 run or wide receivers he has.
I'm
Um,
done playing waivers.
don't
I'm
do that.
forever. Are you kidding me? Someone drops a gem each week. I'm not playing waivers so I can shoot to that one spot. So when one of these fucks, when Bren inevitably drops the Lions again because he doesn't want them, he doesn't want them. You don't
Except
want
for
them.
Brent, I don't think Brent has to drop anybody. I think his team is all set.
I was praying to God that CJ Stroud finished with under 15 points. I was going to fucking murder Justin in the intro. Fucking murder that kid. Oh, fucking gem, huh?
Don't you love it? He puts up enough points just to stay in that conversation.
Just
Yeah,
stay in the conversation, man. I
top
was
10
like,
QB.
now
Well,
granted,
he only
Dobbs got me more points, and I grabbed him off the waivers that week.
right,
So I was like, did I drop a gem?
Yeah,
right. Well, I mean, he only got
Eagles
what?
defense, they have
20.
tough matchups
Yeah.
all the way
Oh,
through.
he did make
So,
it to 20. I thought he was still under 20.
I thought it was 20. I could be mistaken.
yeah, he made it to 20. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I thought he had like 18 or something, but still, yeah. I mean, it's tough, but he is looking good for a rookie. I will say
Yeah,
that.
he really is. And of course, I'm salty because I had to drop him due to my situation. I didn't necessarily want to. It was more
Right.
my situation at the time.
Well, and that's kind of like this is off topic, but like for a 10-man league, like 7 bench spots is a lot, but at the same time, it's not. Like because it's a 10-man league, there's so many more players on waiver. And then like that, if you have, if you get hit with that bye week, like
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do. Obviously, you're gonna have to drop somebody,
Yeah.
and not every time. Not every time are you gonna have, a Jahan Dotson to drop or
But yeah,
someone crappy like that,
true. And like Craig was saying, it is kind of like an odd strategy because like I forget to do waivers all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It just I get high, it gets late. I keep telling myself, "Oh, I'll do it before I go to bed." I fucking go to bed. I
Nope.
totally forget. But when I wake up and I see these hot little pieces that other people had to get rid of, it's like, oh, I'll take that guy. Take that guy.
Right, because most of the time you're first or second in waivers if you forgot to play them overnight,
Yeah,
So
I didn't even realize
but
it worked that way. But yeah, it's
yeah, if it's
different.
only drop, you can't pick them up till like the next day or something like that. Like you can
You
put in a
better wait
waiver for
until
them, but
6:45, Bram, because if you do it before then, it'll process as a waiver claim. Stupid.
in the
It
morning,
depends on the player. It depends on the player. It depends on when the player
Mm.
was dropped. Like if I drop a
Yeah.
player right now, right,
which we did.
Yeah.
Yep.
and someone puts in, it's going to be a waiver claim. So
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
it makes sense. It's like 24 hours out from the play. It makes sense. It's just you got to pay attention.
Right. All right. Let's funkin' Dan.
I think
Here.
Deshaun might not play this week, which might affect Cooper. But Stafford, I think, is supposed to be back. Was that this week?
Yeah.
That could be real big for Puka and Cut Bren. Good job. Prescott's a beast. I think he is gonna. I mean, Sutton has scored 7 touchdowns out of 9 games.
It's ridiculous.
Ridiculous, dude.
He's on a tear.
Yeah,
And he's still only wide receiver 24. That's crazy.
Yeah. I guess because that's all he does is score a touchdown and he quits.
Right. He has like 30 yards and a touchdown every week. So
Yeah, I really think Carolina gets shut down by Dallas. Najee Harris by Cleveland. He has too many hard matchups this week. Dan, I think, is going to continue his winning streak even with a hole at RB. I wonder if he's going to get that back up. He might get that back up. We'll see.
B-Man, who you... Oh, sorry, Greg, go ahead.
No, you're good. Sorry.
I was just going to say, B-Man, who you taking?
Well, you guys know that movie, Good Luck Chuck?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, where he, has sex with them and then they find their love. But I think it's like when you make a trade with Josh, your team goes off. So I'm picking P-Funk. Because he just got the trade from Josh, so clearly he's going to do really good.
I love that logic. I'm going Funk as well.
Yeah.
I think Prescott, have a good day, but I don't think they're going to do what they did last week and keep him until the fourth
throwing the
quarter.
ball.
Yeah, and keep throwing the ball. Now, granted, I was a beneficiary of that, but still, I don't think they're going to do that a second week in a row, especially since they're at Carolina. Like, if they were home, they still might do that again just to, appease to the fans or whatever. But being at Carolina, I think they'll get up big, and, it all depends if Dak is either running or passing all those touchdowns, or if they decide to get, like, Pollard involved with, a touchdown run or two and stuff where – I don't think he's going to go off for 40 again. Like you said, Madison might be out. Rashad White's facing San Fran's defense, so I think he's going to come back down to, the pack a little bit. Who knows with Kittle? He's so hit and miss. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm gonna go with Brent's theory though, and pick Funk as well, just because
I don't know
Dan.
if any of you noticed this, and I wasn't going to say anything, but Dan had 1 point between 4 or 5 players until the fourth quarter of the 1 o'clock games, and he got like 60 or 65 points of garbage.
Did he really?
Cooper was at like 0 points. He had like 1 point from White. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he literally got like 65 points of garbage time.
Yeah, well, White had the one big play of it was like a 40-yard touchdown or something like that catch. So like if you take that away, he's a middling RB, and stuff. So it might continue. It might not.
It was Olave, Cooper, Kittle, and I think London. Maybe not London. I think it was Kittle, Cooper, Olave, and White. And Taylor had only scored 12 or 14. But yeah, between those two, they ended 17, 21, 15, and 20 because again, like Kittle scored a touchdown at the end. It was crazy. The boys scored a shitload of garbage points. Worked out.
He scored your amount of points in the fourth quarter. Sounds like.
Yeah, between 4 players, just about. Yeah.
yeah.
This is no excuse. I was losing no matter what. I get it. My team is looking rough. I'm fucking pissed, but whatever. We're moving past it.
Well, what's funny is in Barbers in my matchup, like I was ahead, but I was like nowhere near comfortable ahead. I'm like, I need to be ahead by a lot more if I'm gonna win. Like, because he had 3 people going Monday night, so I'm like, whatever. And like Cup was, I think, or not Cup. I'm sorry, Chase. He had like 2 catches for like 13 yards or something like that. And then I saw that the Bengals had scored, and I forgot what I was doing, but I was doing something. I was like, oh, Bengals scored. And then I was like, oh, let me guess, it's Chase. Sure enough, it was like a 64-yard touchdown to Chase. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, ridiculous. But then no one else really did shit on his team. So I was like, oh, this is where my downfall goes. I was very close to sending a GG text, But I didn't. That's what I mean. You got to know when to use it. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
Correct.
So, all right, let's get to the interesting matchups here. We'll start with Craig and Justin first. Oh, let me get to your matchup.
I'm so fucking Craig, tired of losing. I give it to Justin. I'm jinxing him. Justin wins.
You're pulling a me?
Yeah, I'm tired of it. Justin wins. Good job, Justin. Your team's great.
So, Craig, I don't know if you remember I must apologize to you. Last week, I think I said you lost like 3 or 4 or something like that. I think because I don't know. I said something about, you're on a losing streak in 3 or 4. And you're like, that's not a streak.
You didn't know the definition of a streak. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, you're like, that's not a streak.
That's 1 day. Correct. And then you went back like, oh, you lost 2, then you won, then you lost. I'm like, that's not a fucking streak.
Like, right off the bat was such a soft question. Like, you could have just fucking answered, but you were like, what? Huh? I'm not coming off a streak.
I got offended. As shit. No, I'm not on a losing streak, bro. Look at my record. I'm about to be. I'm fucking about to be.
3 out of this last 4.
I think I was wrong, and I think that's because you and Justin literally have the same name except for 1 number. And so at one point, I think I confused you two, and whatever. So, anyways, I'm apologizing for being wrong about that.
I get to keep 2. It's okay. You're forgiven. I forgive you.
Thank you. I needed that. Thank you. Yep. It was weighing heavy on me.
Sleep peaceful tonight, sunshine.
All right, so yeah, you got some rough matchups there, Craig. I don't want to go Justin, but I'm going Justin as well. D-Man, who you going?
That's interesting.
Who my
Greg,
ace
what?
in the hole is out. I'm so upset.
Yeah, this is a full Justin's team. This is like his full squad. I think I'm gonna go towards Justin as well.
Who fucking gave Justin the best tight end in the goddamn league? Why does
Not
he have
me.
Trey McBride?
He picked him up.
Disgusting. Yeah, I know.
He's a waiver pickup for
I
sure.
know. It's disgusting.
Craig, I got a question for you, buddy.
Mm.
If Achan is back,
Mm-hmm.
are you gonna take out one of your RBs or your wide receiver for him?
God, no. I mean, I could. With Achan and how explosive he is, you could easily have like 4 plays and get like 20 points. You know what I'm saying? If he breaks off for a 70-yard touchdown. I see this more as realistically being like the start of the year where they kind of work him back in slowly. I guess it'll depend on reports from practice to see how well he's playing, if he's
That's
limited at
fair.
all.
Well, and what kind of
Ideally,
injury
I don't.
did he?
A knee
Sorry, go
injury.
ahead.
No, you're fine. I don't normally like starting players off the rip unless I really have to, just to see how they come back. You know, like if he only has 5 carries, and now if that's my highest upside, I'll do it. But I think I have some better upside currently with what I have in plugged in. So
Man, you're either going to be really happy or really upset after Thursday night.
do I have a
You
lot
have
going
what?
Thursday.
You have at least,
Holy shit!
yeah, you have
Yeah,
3.
I'm sliding out of this league, boys. I'm sliding out. I'm my
And it's not.
passion for everything is dying. It's just all dying. I have no passion
Same,
anymore.
dude. Same.
I don't have the will to fight these stupid, pointless arguments anymore that go nowhere and mean nothing.
This is
It's
hilarious
not worth
'cause
my friendships. I already lost Molnar. I'm not losing anybody else. I'm not gonna let my psychopath attitude get in the way of this. I'm losing passion quick.
that's why when I get to that point where I just turn the notifications off and I'm just like,
I've had
yeah.
notifications turned off for a year, and I still flood the fucking group chat with shit because I look at my phone every 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
This is hilarious because Craig 2 weeks ago, Craig, how you feeling? Oh, I'm losing, but still putting up points. I'm real confident in my team. And then now he's like, I give up on life.
Baltimore
What
looks
is?
so fucking good. I just want to be a football fan at this point. I'm tired of it. Like it's so fucking frustrating to have to be one of the people in this league that hyper focuses on basically gambling. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
man,
That's shit I can't fucking
what a
control.
faggot. Oh my
You're
god. I
fucking
can't listen to
weird.
this dribble anymore, okay?
Let me cry some more. Let me cry. Jeez. Bunch of fags.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, I love it.
That was great. That was a great rant, Craig.
Yeah. No,
'Cause
You're
honestly,
welcome.
definitely. That's good.
I think there's, like I said, there's 3 of us that are in it, that are like for sure in the playoffs. The rest of us are fighting. I'm sure everyone's kind of that way right now, especially with the
Yeah,
holidays coming up and stuff. I'm like,
I think so.
and that's where it kind of sucks that they extended the season one more week because it's like that's one more week you gotta like care. It's
Right.
like it's like you said, like it's very nice on like Thursday night when I can watch, especially like that game because it's a good game, or you hope it's going to be a good game that you can just enjoy it as a football fan. You don't have to be like, oh man, I need Andrews and Lamar to go out, like and stuff. It's
Right.
just it is what. Like I said last week when I kind of tuned out everything, it was so great. I keep saying I'm going to do that going forward, but we'll see if I do or not.
No, because then
Depends.
when your
There's
team goes off for 150, you want to get in and be like, fuck you, I'm the best. Look at me.
right. Yeah. Yeah. So we all want to be like Dan, essentially, and then when we suck, we just shut out the world for a little. That's what we all do.
It's literally what
Anyway,
every single one of us does.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Some of us
I do.
better than others, though. Like, Funk just goes off hunting and shit and doesn't have his phone on, doesn't set a lineup, and he
I
fucking
need to
wins,
be there. I need to be there.
right?
I want to do that.
Oh, can someone tell me what my score is? Like, fuck you, you're winning, dude. You know?
It needs to be harder. There needs to be less obvious. There's too much fantasy football information in this world. We need less. We need a shutout. We should shut everyone out. And if you get any
Yeah.
information, you're out.
Well, honestly, when I was, and I know we got one more matchup to cover, but when I was working with Canada Dry, yeah, I realized that there were so many like fantasy football podcasts that I would listen to. Because Craig, like we have long days a lot of times with that job, and so like I would be like, oh, I need to listen to like 8 to 10 different podcasts to help my day go by quick, whatever. And then it's like this is just a lot of info because like a lot of it's repetitive. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so you're literally listening to the same thing for 8 to 10 hours or whatever, with the occasional hot take or whatever.
Sure.
And it was just like, I was just like, so now I listen to I think 3 podcasts where I'm just like, this is where I'm getting my info from.
I have
So
2.
be it.
I have 2. I have one that's the actual show, and then I have some dude who just gives like 5 or 10 minutes of his personal information, and I go off that.
Fantasy, the footballers is my.
Yeah, that's a really popular one. That's my favorite one. That's like a fun show to listen to in general. That's a good one.
Yep. I love that one. That's my favorite too.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of steal some of their content.
Everyone
I hope
steals everyone's content, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope they're not listening. Marco
hope they
would
are.
like it.
Hire
Marco
me.
would like it if we
Get
got
me on
sued.
there. Save me. I'll do anything you want. I'll jerk you all off while you watch football.
See, I've thought about that because like a lot of times they're like, hey, we have a position open, like apply basically, and they're like, to apply, like write out like a column or whatever that you want to do. I'm like, nah, that's not my thing. Like,
Yeah, they want writers. They want.
I'm not much
They got their part done. They just want writers and
right. I'm like,
what is it?
I'm not a writer, so no thank you.
Analysis
Yeah.
writers.
All right, the matchup of the week: Josh versus Bren.
Whoop,
Yeah,
go.
Bren, did you see my team name and my picture?
He
I don't get
doesn't
it.
have a stash.
I don't get it.
I don't see the picture. Oh, I see it. I get it. Yes, I get it. It's from the commercial. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
in
god.
the
Liberty.
yeah, in the commercial, Craig, the guy who's in, the normal guy, Doug, he's like reading the script and he's like walking, he's like blah blah, and then he gets to center stage where a baby grand piano falls on him, and he's like, "Are you guys replacing me?" And then the guy who's replacing him comes up and he's like, "Oh look, a Bibu," and then and then my guy's like, "Him? He doesn't even have a mustache." So then he puts on a fake mustache real quick.
It's like
Liberty,
okay.
Liberty, Biberty.
Liberty.
I think I vaguely recall that commercial. I'm gonna have to watch it again so I can be on the same page.
You gotta, if you watch Fox Sports Live, you will see this commercial.
Yeah,
I
they
sound
show
familiar.
it
I
all
think
the
I have.
time.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
watch a
but
Michigan football game. You'll see it like 20 times.
Ugh.
right.
Everything's making more sense now.
Yeah, it's a good time. I was like, I have to have a counter for this. That was my counter. So,
That's a good one.
anyways,
Bro, do you have a quarterback, Josh? What the fuck happened to your team? Your team's gone. You traded it all away. Who do you have?
Yeah, Justin Fields.
Oh my god, he's not. Is he playing this week?
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay. So let's see. What waiver wire are you? God damn, you traded away your entire fucking team and you dropped everybody. I love it. I like how you still have Leonard Fournette. What a flyer.
I'm waiver wire 3, buddy.
3? Well,
3.
yeah, I'm definitely not playing waivers this week then. That's for sure. I see.
Well, what would you go for? Because you need a kicker.
I'm not telling you what I would go for. Like it's obvious, and I'm not going to tell you because you're going to take it, and it's so obvious that if I say,
I mean, I'll tell you right now, kicker is not my number one.
You think I would waste a waiver
Waiver.
wire on a fucking kicker? I would never waste a waiver wire on a kicker unless his name's Justin Tucker and for some reason he's sitting there. I would never do it. Would never do it.
Then no complaining if your kicker screws you over.
Oh, I need coup. Okay, well, this is what I'm gonna say here.
Brent hasn't even actually set his lineup. He still has last week's lineup in there.
No, look again. Refresh that
Oh, I
page.
gotta refresh it. The sneaky little bastard.
Yeah.
Refresh it.
Oh no, he's back up there.
Mine
No,
still isn't refreshing.
yeah, I'm
Do you have
still
Hurts in?
showing.
You have Hurts in,
Hurt-
right?
No,
No.
Okay.
No,
You're
I'm
not gonna
he
play
has
done.
Hurts?
Dobbs in.
Are you gonna play Hurts?
Right.
Obviously, right?
We'll see.
Okay, so you're
He's
obviously gonna play
questionable.
Hurts.
He's
Is he?
questionable.
No, he's
Yeah.
not. Oh, he is. What did he
Yeah.
do?
He got hurt. He's hurt.
Poor baby boy.
Yeah.
He's
I
a
was hoping the bye
bitch.
week.
What's this
You know.
fucking tire fire of a matchup, dude? I don't know. I mean, good luck picking your wide receiver 2. I guess it has to be Kirk because I don't think you play Pickens against Cleveland. So you got the line. You got a top tier defense. Thank you, Nate.
Our matchup makes Greg want to quit fantasy even more.
That shit, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how he's gonna do it, but Josh is probably gonna pull it off. Bren, I love you, buddy. I say this because of matchups. I mean, I don't know. You know what? I lied. I forgot. You have a full team. You have Laporta. Laporta's going to be great.
I already
probably
put it in there.
points.
You can't change it now.
All right.
It's
Well,
already
you
in
keep
there.
it. But Bren, knowing your heart, I'm choosing you. Actually, I changed my mind.
Okay, I put
You
Brent
have
in
such a
for you,
good
buddy.
team. Because I forgot. I literally forgot Stafford's probably back. And if Stafford's back, Cup's going to eat. Barkley's going to eat. Lions are going to eat Chicago. You might get 40 points from your defense,
Barkley's
bro.
been the biggest disappointment of my life.
That's
He's
not
the only
his fault, though.
That's not his fault.
I
He's the
know it's
best.
not. I know it's not. The dude's a literal, pure, thoroughbred horse. He's a beauty. I just love looking at him. But
yeah, I like your team, bud. You got some good players.
like I looked at Sleeper at one point, and he had 7 carries for a yard. Like kill me.
What did I hear? He's basically playing on a high school team in the NFL. Basically, is what he's
Pretty
doing.
much. Yeah.
I guess it's crazy.
It's ridiculous. Brent, are you just gonna pick me or
Please.
reverse psychology,
This
bro?
might be the easiest week I've ever had. I don't know.
You don't even have a team, Josh.
Yeah.
You're missing 7 fucking players.
It says here you're only going to get 100 points.
Yeah,
look at the projections, dude. Have you looked at projections?
Yeah, I have.
Look at the playoff projections, bro. Have you looked at the playoff projections? I'm like 5.
That's fair. That's fair. Brian, I'm only like I don't know, like 30 points behind you now, buddy. In points for. So I'm gonna outscore you, but
you can't
I'm
use that illegal tight end. Okay.
Yeah, you need to drop him at this point. It's ridiculous. Quit using him.
He's on a bye, so I can't use him. Anyways, so
I can't believe you're projected 104 with 3 missing pieces. I hate my team.
That's because I got the number 1 running back, top 3 wide receiver, top 10 receiver this week. I'm gonna ball out.
But you don't have a quarterback.
Correct.
Quarterback's really the most overrated position in fantasy. I've been told. So
I'm not going to argue with you. You are correct. I was just trying to get at you. You are correct. Move on.
I mean, I'm just saying. I plucked Geno Smith off the waiver wire. Got 26 points. I mean, so
Geno.
I mean,
I more than Lamar.
Right. He almost doubled Lamar up. But so yeah, I'm pretty sure like I'm gonna dominate Brad. Well, he's gonna feel so emasculated when I'm done that he might become a transgendered person. Not sure. We'll
My
see.
passion level is wow, transgender. Did you tag this video as NSFW, bro?
We're
Do I
gonna be
need to?
canceled tomorrow now.
I'd like to announce our new
Ugh.
sponsor, Bud Light. They've offered us free cases of beer for all the fags in this group.
It is delicious.
It's fucking delicious.
Did you mark it as NSW for saying transgender, but then he's like fag?
No, you can say fag. That's fine.
Oh, that's fair. It means cigarette.
Exactly.
All right. Anything else you boys want to say? Or
I
up?
hope I make it to the playoffs.
I choose me. I'm saying that. I choose me. I'm gonna win. Okay? Mark me
Ugh.
picking me.
Bren.
Mark me picking Brent as well.
Bitches.
I didn't realize
Okay.
that you were fooling me with your.
Detroit's defense alone, 20
I
points.
think, dude, it's the Chicago too, bro. They're gonna fucking put them in the dirt.
Russia.
That
Bro,
may
are the
be.
Lions playing on Thanksgiving next week? 2 weeks
Yeah,
from
they
now?
always play in
They always
Thanksgiving,
do, right?
bro.
Okay, I just
Yeah,
wasn't sure.
they're
Who are they playing?
Packers.
Packers.
Oh, sick. All right, though. That'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, it'll
fun to
probably be
watch.
another dominating performance. So,
I would love to see it.
all right, boys, this week should be interesting. Good luck to everyone but Bren, and Dan.
Yeah, I just like to say one more thing.
Okay, then I get someone too. I don't want Justin to win, but I picked him.
Okay.
Wait. I need to look. Who's coming? I need you both to lose. I need me to get to the playoffs. So you both figure out a way to tie. A tie would be great for
Can't do
everybody.
Well, Craig, you're in good shape though. If we, obviously,
I'm not. I got verse Justin. I get my ass kicked this week, and then I gotta go into next
Yeah.
week. Who do I verse?
I don't know.
Nate!
I faced Chuck.
God damn it!
Hey,
I'm
Nate's
supposed
not
to
that
collude
bad.
with Nate. But if he wins, I can't collude. This is bullshit. I'm done. I hate this game.
Craig, if I could beat Nate, you could beat Nate, bro. I beat him 2 weeks ago. He's still licking his wounds over
Easy.
that, man.
Yeah,
You know?
I think I beat him too. He sucks.
Right.
You got
He
it.
walked away. He walked
That's
away
fair.
from that matchup with his tail between his legs. He's like, I gave him some food just to make him feel better. But
If Dan comes out and scores 150 plus points again, I will not speak for a while.
Same.
I doubt that. I believe Brent. I don't believe Craig.
Because I can't shut up. It's a fucking problem.
Because Brent already doesn't talk that much in the group chat. So
I'm in there. I'm the 5th most common guy in there. Get the fuck out of here.
I would agree. Brandon's been
Yeah.
chiming in quite a bit this year. I'd put him right there
Yeah.
5. Right there 5. I have a mental disability where I just can't shut my mouth.
Dude, I'm the same way because like so many times I'll be like, oh, I want to say something. I'm like, you know what? It's not worth it. And then I'll put
I
my
do
phone
a
down.
lot of that too. Like even today, I was gonna chime in on shit, and I literally deleted the message because I was like, well, maybe they have a point. I don't fucking like,
But then
I shouldn't be that rude about it.
Right, I always feel the same.
Then I pick it up. No, I'll just say I then re-pick up the phone and just say, "Fuck it, I'm saying it." So like that's my issue. Go ahead, Craig.
I stay awake up at night sometimes in my paranoid state of highness, and I'm like, I was too rude. I was just too mean. Like, why are you so mean, Craig? Just chill out.
Dude,
Chill the fuck out, bro. Like,
yeah, I get that same. So to prevent it, I've definitely deleted a few messages. Like I can't remember what I had written today, but it was definitely like these fucking arbitrary fucking numbers. You motherfuckers believe in fucking. You're idiots. You're all fucking morons. Go back.
It makes me so happy though when I see that because I'm like, so I'm not the only one. Like,
So every now and then.
Nate said it too. Like, no one gives a fuck about QB value. Like, thank you. No one gives a fuck about QB value. Yes, that's what I wanted to say.
It was funny. I think it was today when I was, going back and forth with Dan, and because he texted me a while ago and had some stuff and from Scarlett. He's like, "Hey, do you, Melanie, want this for Gabrielle? I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I have this blanket that my grandma made for Gabrielle as well. So I was like, cool. We'll have to, get together or whatever. And then like we're sitting there, going back and forth the last couple of days, and I'm like, shit, I hope he's still gonna give me that stuff.
You can't
Right?
I'm
No, I
restricting
think
Gabriella. She's not allowed
yeah,
to have this. Okay?
we
You
all
talk back
like
to me.
Craig said before, we all do a pretty decent job, except for him and Molnar. But I think that was something completely different. But of kind of leaving fantasy football problems as fantasy football problems and not carrying it out into our actual
Yeah,
friendships,
keep
which
it
I
within
think
the realm of
is
fantasy.
great.
It's never personal. It's never personal. Keep it in
Yeah.
the realm of
Sometimes,
fantasy.
sometimes you and Dan get personal. That's when I love it because you two
Yeah,
go
that's
at it
always
sometimes.
funny, but they're like I view them as like brothers. So,
Well, right, exactly.
Yeah.
like
Some
by
of the
legal law, they're brothers or whatever.
yeah,
That's
they
because
hang
what you
out
don't
all
see is I'm gonna drive over to his house and look him in the face. But what the fuck, bro? Fuck.
right. Well, and you gotta think too,
Bare
like
knuckle box me. You want to go?
not only are they together all the time because they're in-laws, but because they work together too. So like
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that.
they're literally around each other all the time. So like
true.
they know how to
Very
like go
true.
at each other and not cross a line,
No,
Well, they
no.
can cross the line a little bit more.
Dan knows
Oh,
exactly
right.
how to get under my skin, and he loves it, and I hate it. And I fucking
He
hate
loves
it.
getting under anybody's skin. That's
Great
what
cat.
he does.
He's a
100%. He
fucking
Even
termite.
lives
his
to do that.
even his own wife sometimes, he just
Yeah.
drowns on me.
I think about that sometimes.
I'm
Like, wow, like
Slytherin
that's
last night.
manager of the year and husband of the century. Ah, man, it's insane. How do you do it? My daughter
Yeah.
likes him more than me. Explain that. He somehow found a way to make my daughter like him. She's hung out with him like 5 times. And she likes him more than oh, Uncle Dan. Oh, Dan.
That's because Dan is a great people person. Like he knows how to get people to like him. That's why we've been friends with him for fucking so long.
Hook, line, and sinker. That
Hook, line,
motherfucker
and
got
sinker,
us
dude.
good, dude.
Like,
Oh,
damn it. Like,
son of a
motherfucker
bitch.
is a
Yeah,
dickhead sometimes, but damn, he's a good friend,
gotta
Like,
love
Damn.
him. Gotta love him. Gotta love everybody, man. We
all right,
got a
I'm starting to
good
get
He's a
10-man
good
group.
dude, but
Good
God,
10-man
I
group.
hate him.
yeah, I'm starting to get hives talking good about Dan. We got to end this.
Yeah, I don't like it
So,
either. Man, I feel sick. I got a stomach ache. I don't like it.
All
so
right,
all right,
later,
boys.
gentlemen.
See you
Bye,
next week.
boys.